Welcome to the Wyckoff Crypto Discussion. I am Alessio Rutiliano, and as usual, today we will explore the crypto market through the lens of the Wyckoff method. This is our 6th episode. Thank you very much for your feedback. If you have any trading idea or question, feel free to leave your comment below. We will be happy to discuss it. This information is for educational purpose only and is not an investment recommendation. Please stop the video and read the disclaimer. So before we start our discussion today, Roman has a very special announcement to do. A new series totally devoted to tape reading. And I'm so excited to read the names of so many Wyckoffans like David Weis, Gary Fullett, William Reardon that will join this 3-month journey. So Roman, please tell us about this new series.
Yeah, I'm very excited because it's been a long road for us, at Wyckoff Analytics to create this course, to get all of these wonderful teachers into one course. So, extremely exciting event, 10 sessions that are going to start this Thursday, October 8th. And even if you see this video after October 8th, you still can sign up. So, you'll get the recording and you can start, starting the tape reading. So what are we going to study? We're going to have 3 major series on tape reading. The first one I'm going to do myself, and we're going to establish the foundation as to how we actually tape read. And our concentration is going to be on the bar-by-bar analysis and on the swing analysis. We're going to use the laws of supply and demand, effort versus result. Those are the basic Wyckoffan laws. They are present in every analysis that we do. We're going to contextualize our tape reading. We're going to also look at the tape reading through point and figure in volume, and we're going to look at the horizontal volume tape reading as well. As usual, all of our sessions are very interactive. We're going to have some drills and exercises, and we're going to have some homeworks as usual. That's just kind of like my style. Then Gary Fullett actually volunteered to have a free bonus session for those of you who's going to sign up for the first series, and that session is going to be on October 29th. Gary is going to talk about tape reading without the time frame constraints. So this means that he's most likely is going to talk about the PNF and volume signature, which I actually think is such an easier way to tape read the chart. And then we're extremely honored and excited to have David Weis joining us for series number 2. This is a rare appearance, so definitely would recommend it to anyone who wants to learn how to tape read. Intermediate to advanced concepts, we're going to start with some of the original Wyckoff work. We're going to do the PNF and volume reading. We're going to go through the history and logic of the Weis wave that David has constructed many years ago. He's going to explain how his cumulative wave works. And then, again, we're going to revisit the swing and bar-by-bar analysis. Now, during those sessions, I'm going to become a student of David, and David is going to give me a chart to tape read, to chart read, and in real time, I'm going to be tape reading, and David is going to give me a feedback. So kind of like a fun exercise right there. And obviously drills and exercises and homeworks, it's all going to be there. And then we're introducing a new persona to our Wyckoff Analytics community, William Reardon. William resides in the UK. He is a very talented tape reader, and he specializes in the intraday and swing tape reading, specifically of the futures. We're going to go through a lot of S&P 500 E-mini charts, and we're going to go through some of the futures like oil and some others. We'll discuss the multiple time frame tape reading analysis, and again, I'm going to become a student, and I'm going to tape read what William is going to give me as a chart. Drills and exercises, homeworks, it's all there. So a very intense course on tape reading. You're going to immerse into those concepts and just kind of develop the skill of observation and the deduction And this is an essential skill. This is something that Wyckoff talked about as a necessity to have for your analysis. So very exciting. Go to wyckoffanalytics.com and sign up.
I'm so excited. This is a great event.
All right. Well, Alessio, let's discuss the current market. What's going on here? What do you see?
Very interesting charts today. So in our previous episode, we have discussed the very constructive price action on the S&P, decreasing supply signature, a dynamic rally after the oversold condition that is pushing price back to the value zone. And now we are at a very important resistance level, but supply signature continues to be very low. And this is a constructive sign, and we are just waiting for that up bar that closes above the resistance and acts as a confirmation that would lead us to the retest of the September high. And very often in a bullish formation after an oversold condition, price comes back to the value zone, consolidating the upper half of the range, hugging the horizontal resistance, and then accelerate. So Bruce and Roman have shown in yesterday's stock market discussion that many sectors of the stock market, especially industrials, are behaving very well. So what's the Wyckoff story here? After that profit-taking, the speculative stocks and technology sector capitals are rotating into themes associated to the real economy. So what's going on in crypto land? On Bitcoin, the contraction, volatility, and volume was suggesting that supply was exhausted. And we have shown many times this trend line is holding quite well. And we see here an apex formation with a contraction of volatility. And today we have a very bullish bar that confirms that buyers are still present. And if the market is going to revisit the high, Bitcoin can follow the same path, I think. So what do you think about today's price action, man?
Yeah, it's very bullish, I wouldn't say very bullish, but it's definitely a bullish price action, both on the market and on the cryptos, on Bitcoin specifically. So as Alessio has said, this is the level that we're looking for the S&P 500 to break. As we are recording this at around 10 a.m. Pacific, we have had the bar that has overcome this resistance. So we need to see what kind of close we're going to have on this session. Also, just want to walk you through the chart a little bit here, because there is a very analogous action that we see in the way how volatility has decreased before and how it has decreased in the present conditions. And then we see this takeoff. So we're seeing a potential takeoff right now as well. So we're expecting some kind of rally. We're expecting some kind of continuation in the market. Well, what precedes that? Well, we kind of see that every time the change of behavior comes for Bitcoin, it means that somewhere in the future, the market is actually going to stop as well. But what's interesting is that the first part of the Bitcoin trading range coincides with the final rally and kind of like a climactic rally in the markets. So Bitcoin is showing the path of this speculative spirit, and it just basically tells us that, okay, well, be warned that at some point, you might have some kind of, drop here in the market. And then when the market drops, what happens next? Bitcoin goes into that low volatility pattern. So we want to understand how the price structure unfolds, and behind that price structure, what kind of behavior or behaviors by institutions is being exhibited. And we kind of see that it's very similar. So we would be using this as an analog, which suggests both, the rally for the market and the rally for the Bitcoin, yet to be confirmed by the price action. And if we would be looking at how the rally should develop, we would be expecting that there is some kind of local breakout at around the area where still volatility is very low. So we kind of have this pattern here. And then as the S&P 500 starts to move up, and if it starts touching the resistance, this is where in this area we would be expecting the Bitcoin to start moving more aggressively to the upside. Let's see in the upcoming weeks if this is going to be the case.
So let's switch to the 4-hour time frame. So the price action is very constructive. We see a big shakeout, then volatility contracts on each reaction. So a typical apex formation on the bottom. And what we do when we see a decrease in supply and decrease in demand? We want to see buyers coming in and committing above specific price levels. So today we are seeing that buyers are coming in and absorbing the supply on the way up. And price has already started to commit above the previous local high. And sometimes apex formation are very tiring because you see a first attempt to go up, and then volatility continues to contract and contract. But I think that the fact that Bitcoin is coming back to walk along with the stock market is a constructive sign. So what we want to see right now is a series of confirmations on the way up. And this is the plan. Roman, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like this price action, Alessio. And we've discussed this price structure before. So the key for us, if we are going to tape read this, is to understand, the big bars to the downside. Those are the bars that are giving us an indication of how the supply is behaving. So there is quite a lot of supply as weak hands are selling into the climactic low. Then another attempt to push the price down, supply is diminishing, and the result to the downside is diminishing as well. Look at how the close is somewhat in the 1/2 of this capitulation bar. So that's a very positive bullish development. We could extend this line and we could see that the reaction after that also has supply diminished characteristics, but also look at the spread. Now it takes 3 days, the spread is much smaller, and then the last attempt to go down is just very mediocre. There is no sell-in whatsoever, and we see this both in the supply, in the price spread signature, and also in the volume supply signature. And then obviously Alessio has mentioned, the breakout, which has happened on the latest bar. So this looks very constructive, and we could also think about any type of analogs where most recently we have seen this type of breakouts. So here are these 2 bars, and it seems that the breakout is happening on a slightly diminished volume characteristics. So is this good or not? Well, look at the result. We are closing somewhat higher than this bar. So therefore, even though we have less effort, the price moves much easier to the upside, which gives us a little bit of the confirmation of the bias itself and the timing, and also suggests that whatever supply we have had in this structure, that supply has been absorbed. So what's the next key, target zones? Well, this whole bar right here, and specifically how the price stopped at this level. So this is going to be the new area of the resistance. And look at, from this level, this is kind of like a cluster that we have. So this is where the price might have this type of action. If the price is going to go through, that will show a lot of elements of strength, and we will be thinking that this is a sign of strength, and we might be at the beginning of that. So all of the bullish signs, at least for now.
So here's a look to the whole crypto market, and Bitcoin is outperforming the rest of the crypto market. So we see evident signs of a comparative strength on Bitcoin, higher lows, higher highs, and Bitcoin is outperforming the exchange index too. But we could potentially see also some buy activity in the future in low caps, because generally capitals flow to Bitcoin first and then rotate to the rest of the ecosystem. This is a very important concept because we want to see here signs of life in the other indexes as well that are so oversold. you always want to see a broad market to switch from swing trading mode to campaign mode, especially when trading the asset within a sector. So I think this is the most important idea on these 4 charts, Roman.
Yeah, a very interesting idea that you said. I really like that you identify Bitcoin as this is where the money goes first. And we still have to be cognizant that this volume spike in the way how the price behaves has some supply in this. And I'm just thinking that, we might have some kind of test here first. But it's a very interesting idea that Bitcoin gets the money first and then everything is being spread out. So that is kind of logical then why Bitcoin outperforms at this point, because there is some kind of flight to quality, so flight to safety that also could be present. And then another thought that I have here, look at the latest attempts to go down. Right, so look at, let's say, this structure right here, this structure right here, this structure right here, and then I believe this structure right here. So they all have the same type of structural, legs up, legs down, where the first leg down has more volatility than the subsequent leg down. And this is what we are, expecting from, a spot where the price will start rallying. It's this decrease of volatility relative to the previous reactions in the area of the support, and it's kind of happening throughout all of this, crypto assets. So a very interesting, reversal that we're seeing out of those low volatility conditions.
And here we see Monero. Monero is showing a lot of comparative strength in the crypto markets in the last weeks. And here we see on the bottom chart the Russell 2000 index. And there's no correlation between these 2 indexes, but I'm just showing the comparative strength against the leading index in the market right now. So I think this could be a really interesting case study for students that want to study both crypto markets and the stock market. The consolidation that we see on the top of Monero is very textbook. So we see some increase of volume on the top. But this is very interesting because what we see on this chart, we see basically volume coming in and inability of price to react. And this is a very constructive pattern. It's very common that traders can look at this chart and say, oh, this is an uptrust. You have to think in terms of relative performance. So what are your thoughts on this chart, Roman?
Yeah, the very bullish chart because we are in the long-term bullish pattern here. We are stopping here for a little bit, but we are upsloping, and now we are in the short-term uptrend as well. So definitely a leader among crypto assets. Also, I like how the supply story is unfolding. So we have a change of behavior bar that suggests that we're going to go into a trading range environment. Then we have the emergence of the supply at the higher level. And what does it do? It gets us down to the support level where supply signature starts to diminish. Well, what happens then? Have we absorbed the supply, whatever the supply came in? And we kind of see that at the next stop in action, supply is actually going even lower. So here we could conclude that the absorption has happened and we would be expecting the prices to go up. But that's not the end of the story. Supply is coming in again at the level of the resistance that we've experienced before. So now the big question is what's going to be the behavior here of the price with that supply emerging again. And by the way, there is a little bit more supply than we've seen before. But instead of going down, instead of producing this kind of like 1, 2, 3 or ABC reaction down, as Alessio has said, we are holding here. So as long as we hold this pattern, that would be a suggestion of the continuation. And on the background of other assets trying to rally, this could become, a major leadership.
Here we see Monero on the 4-hour chart, and I think this chart is very interesting because every time we see quite a lot of supply on the top of this chart, we want to see a test. So this could be the key for a long position in Monero. So just wait for another test, a higher low, for example, and then continuation to the upside. What do you think, Roman?
Yeah, so we are overcoming this high where supply has come before. We've seen this from the daily chart. So we're assuming that this could be a sign of strength. A sign of strength is usually followed by a backing up action. And the backing up action needs to come to the level of the support or support cluster. And we see how the price goes down, there is a change of behavior, and then that defines the trading range of where the price is going to be for now. So this is where we are. We are in the backing up, testing action, and we want to see the diminished supply characteristics. We want to see the demand to come in. And it's very constructive, Alicia. I would think that the price is actually residing close to the resistance and the volume signature actually increasing, and the price holds. It holds above this 1/2 level of the change of behavior. So that suggests, active absorption. But we still have to see a confirmation, and confirmation would be a break out above, maybe like 115, 114, and sustainability of that breakout.
Here we see Theta, and Theta has a lot of outperformance lately, and we see a huge base, and this consolidation could have very, very big target, and we will see in the next charts. And this pattern looks a bit weird, to be honest, but when you see on the bottom chart, the relative strength is very, very constructive, and we still do not see a lot of supply on the top. And this is very constructive for now. So supply signature is very, very low, especially compared to the silent threat that Roman is highlighting right now. And also this round bottom information, the breaking up action, and then that uptrend. I think it's a very, very constructive and weird pattern, but Wyckoffans have to study also this weird chart. It's very, very important. Roman?
Yeah, we're in a slightly overbought condition right here, just relative to the trend that we are in. Also, there is a pattern where we stop. We have kind of like 3 bars that are, a stop in action apex type of bars. And then in this case, we had a little bit of a spring before we started moving up. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a little bit more of the consolidation attempt to go down before we actually start continuing going up. Because even on the relative strength, we're somewhat in the overbought condition, off the low. Another point here that is very interesting is that supply has come here and then the price comes back to the same level. So you have to make an assessment, a judgment, what kind of availability of supply is at the same structural spot. And we don't see that. So that was a very bullish no supply, signature at the high. So just something to remember.
So this is the same chart on the intraday, and I cannot see here a lot of bearish sign in this chart. In fact, we see a big consolidation with an oversold condition on the bottom. I'm talking about September 7, and the middle of the chart, Roman. Yes. So I really love this pattern where we see a big consolidation with an oversold condition, then a rally that comes to the top of the formation. This is very, very constructive. We see this pattern a lot, even in today's market, the S&P. We have a formation like this, and then we see a beautiful uptrend at this consolidation where supply is very low. So we are still in a trading range. We want to see a breakout of this consolidate of the current range, but I think the formation is still very constructive.
Yeah, I don't see any distributional signs yet. I mean, there are some, subtle signs of, a stop in action where supply comes in, change of behavior is somewhat more than what we've seen before, let's say in this formation. So that suggests that the duration of this range might increase a little bit more. That's number one. I also still think that, this apex formation could resolve first in the kind of like a retest, unless we're just breaking out right now. And the more we stay in this apex formation, the more there is a probability that there could be a retest of the support. And the faster we resolve it, the less probability that we're going to have that type of, sprint shakeout action. Okay, let's go to the next chart.
The strategy for this chart, as always, is wait for a confirmation, in this case, the breakout of the apex. And this chart is very fascinating because we can also try to display the PNF count of this big structure. So here I'm using a 1 cent scaling. This is very strange in the world of PNF scaling, but I think that with crypto charts, this scaling are doing a lot of service to the community, let's say this way. So the first PNF count, small PNF count that we see on the local structure, accumulation structure, LPS, on the first range, or the first trading range, Roman, confirms the first rally. So that's a very constructive sign that is warning us, okay, you can use this count, this scaling. The second range confirms also the rally to the top of that huge sign of strength rally. So let's go to the next bar, so the next chart. So here we see another confirmation. And look also at the supply that is absorbed on the bottom of this formation. Then on this rally, we see no volume. This is another constructive element that we see on this chart. After that, let's go to the next chart. And I think that we can even start thinking about the potential count if this formation will break out. And we see here that the two that he will need to rest and consolidate. And this is exactly what's happening right here. So the question is, if this apex formation will break out to the upside, what could be the target of theta? So the target would be $1. And this is very important because we have also this
Sorry about that. I think we just lost the connection, so let me just reconnect with Alessio and we'll continue.
So if the current formation confirms to be a reaccumulation, if we want to see a breakout of this trading range, the target could potentially be around $1. And I think this is a very interesting chart because in this way we could confirm the target of the overbought line of the channel, this big channel. Roman, your thoughts?
Well, I'm not going to comment on the PNF. So Alessio has developed his techniques, how to use the PNF with the crypto. So I would highly recommend, the series that he did. We have that series on demand, and he discusses this. The only thing that I'm going to say is, pay attention to the volume signature relative to the price action, and you could get a lot of information out of that analysis.
This is a student submission. So we will see a big round formation and then potentially a sign of strength rally with a reaction. And this reaction is very deep, but it's very common to see this pattern over and over in the crypto space. So this reaction is followed by a very dynamic rally, and then another reaction. So we expect to see more and more consolidation here, and this is a 3-day chart, so it's a very long-term chart, but I think that this chart is very, very interesting. Of course, we have to see further consolidation, confirmation, so on, but I really like this pattern when we have a round formation and then dynamic rally and consolidation. What do you think, Roman? This is the same chart on the
the same
daily time frame.
chart. So I'm just now kind of like going to a closer look. So there is a lot of causality,
Go on, Roman.
and this move up, just was a lot, and you have to digest all of this. There is a little bit of the distributional pattern here, which leads us, to the initial move down, consolidation, and then continuation of that reaction. And look how supply is diminishing. So that suggests that we're going to stop, that we're going to have some kind of, move up again. So it still looks bullish at this point, and the rally happens, but it happens into the resistance. So some supply is coming in, and then we could potentially kind of have another retest here. So I would say that a trading range, as Alessio has mentioned, is unfolding, and volatility needs to diminish before we start, rallying again.
Here also another request from our students. In this case, we see a huge apex formation, but the question here is that what kind of relative performance we see here? And the relative performance is very, very poor. And we want to see at least a break of this long-term downtrend in the chart on the bottom. This is very important because we always want to look for charts where the relative performance is above this level. And so, Roman, your thoughts about this chart?
Interesting. So you have the volume here. Is this?
Yes. Yeah. We have also the volume because basically we have the US dollar chart and then the spread chart.
Interesting. Okay. Anticipating an outperformance, we also could anticipate, what would the price do. And obviously we're in the apex formation here. It's very interesting how the volume signature increases in this area. So we see some local volatility increase, but the price does not really follow down. So this is somewhat constructive with an idea that, we still retesting these bars across this support. Would we have another retest like this, and then after that, could we take off, or would we take off right here? So I would just look at this and analyze this on a tactical basis. If it breaks to the upside, if it goes down and then reverses, those type of scenarios. All right, the last chart, Alessio.
Yes, this is Sparkle. I love this round formation. It really reminds me about the original accumulation in 2019 of Bitcoin. So at what point we have a final confirmation on this chart? Generally, we want to see a commitment above the level of the resistance, and then the backup action that could be very, very shallow, because this round formation tends to have this shallow backup because supply is very, very low. Your thoughts, Roman?
Yeah, volume signature has diminished. We have a low demand that pushes the price, aggressively up. If we would be comparing it to the previous instance where, we had that type of move, there was a little bit more of the demand. So it was required to have more demand to have that type of movement. But we also see how supply almost instantly came in. And here we're holding. So as long as we're holding and overcoming this resistance, I think that would indicate that we're currently in the rally mode that could take us to the new ground. All right, well, that's it for today, Alessio. Well, thank you for having me on your program, and looking forward to the next week.
Thank you very much, Roman.